In tennis, we're used to seeing teenagers lift trophies, 20-year-olds dominate the tour, and early bloomers grab headlines. But what about those who kept fighting, who refused to give up, who spent years chasing that one elusive goal? The women who waited until their late 20s or even 30s before finally becoming Grand Slam champions. Join me in this video as we uncover their stories. 7 remarkable women who proved that persistence, resilience, and a little bit of magic can make history on the biggest stages of them all. And here's the twist. This list runs from the older champions to the oldest ever first-time winners in the Open era. So stick around until the end, because the number 1 spot might surprise you. Alright, let's begin. At number 7, we start with Marion Bartoli. Born in France and known for her unorthodox two-handed style on both forehand and backhand, Bartoli was always a player who stood out. But for much of her career, she carried the tag of dark horse rather than champion. That all changed at Wimbledon 2013. At 28 years and 277 days old, Bartoli stormed through the draw and stunned Sabine Lisicki in the final, winning in straight sets. Her joy was infectious. She had finally reached the pinnacle. But the story didn't end there. Just 6 weeks later, Bartoli shocked fans by announcing her retirement, citing her body could no longer endure the grind. Her Wimbledon triumph remains a glorious final chapter, proof that persistence pays off, even if the victory comes right before the curtain falls. Coming in at number 6, we travel to Paris in 2011, where history was waiting for Li Na of China. Before her breakthrough, Li Na was already a trailblazer, one of the first Chinese women to make a serious impact on the WTA Tour. She had power, she had speed, but what she lacked was consistency. Her career was plagued by injuries, coaching changes, and the weight of expectation from millions of fans back home. She had made it to the final of the Australian Open earlier that year but fell short against Kim Clijsters. Then came Roland Garros. Battling her way through a tough draw, she reached the final against defending champion Francesca Schiavone. With her trademark baseline power and cool composure, Li Na won in straight sets. At 29 years and 98 days old, she became not only a first-time Grand Slam champion but the first Asian player ever to win a major singles title. Her victory was a cultural turning point, inspiring an entire generation of young players across Asia to believe that they too could compete on the world's biggest stage. At number 5, it's Carrie Melville Reid from Australia, and the year was 1977. Yes, that year actually featured 2 Australian Opens because of a schedule change. And it was during the first one, in January, that Carrie Reid etched her name into tennis history. Reid was a consistent presence on tour throughout the 1960s and 70s, often overshadowed by the likes of Margaret Court, Yvonne Goolagong, and Chris Evert. She was tough, determined, and had already made her mark in doubles, but a singles slam had always eluded her. That January, she was the 2nd seed in Melbourne and put together a dream run. In the final, she faced the top seed Diane Fromholtz and delivered one of the matches of her life, winning in straight sets. At 29 years and 154 days, Carrie Reid finally became a Grand Slam champion. It would be the only major singles title of her career, but one that ensured her legacy would never be forgotten. Next, at number 4, we have Jana Novotná, the Czech star whose career was filled with heartbreak before glory. Novotná was famous not only for her incredible net play but also for her gut-wrenching losses, particularly at Wimbledon. Fans will never forget her tears in 1993, when she lost a commanding lead to Steffi Graf and had to be consoled by the Duchess of Kent. But Novotná never gave up. Fast forward to Wimbledon 1998, and at last, her moment came. At 29 years and 275 days old, she defeated Natalie Tauziat in the final, collapsing in tears once again, but this time, they were tears of triumph. It was a victory that showed perseverance can rewrite even the cruelest chapters of the past. Sliding into number 3, it's Madison Keys with her surprising win at Melbourne in 2025. Yes, very recent history, and one of the most emotional tennis moments in years. Madison Keys, The American known since her teenage years for her blistering ground strokes and booming serve, finally realized her long-awaited dream. Keys had been tagged as the next big American star for more than a decade. She reached the final of the 2017 U.S. Open, losing to her close friend Sloane Stephens, and had multiple semifinal appearances across different majors. But the big title always slipped away. Injuries, nerves, and the depth of competition kept her from achieving her potential. By 2025, some wondered if her chance had gone. But in Melbourne, just weeks shy of her 30th birthday, she put everything together. She took down world number 2 Iga Swiatek in the semis and then stunned the reigning champion Aryna Sabalenka in a dramatic 3-set final. At 29 years and 343 days, Madison Keys was finally a Grand Slam champion. It was a story of patience, heartbreak, and finally vindication. Her perseverance and power had taken her to the summit, and her name was now forever etched in history. At number 2, we got an Italian star, Francesca Schiavone. Schiavone was a crafty, passionate competitor, known for her one-handed backhand, her flair, and her fighting spirit. But for much of her career, she was seen as more of a dangerous outsider than a real Grand Slam contender. Then came Roland Garros. On clay, her variety and touch blossomed into something extraordinary. She upset seeds, outmaneuvered younger players, and played with fearless energy. In the final, she faced Australia's Samantha Stosur, herself in the form of her life. But Schiavone was not to be denied. She played with joy, kissed the red clay after her win, and claimed her first major title. At 29 years and 346 days, Francesca Schiavone became the oldest first-time women's Grand Slam champion at the time, and the first Italian woman ever to win a slam. Her win inspired not only Italians but tennis fans everywhere who admired her artistry and grit. Top on our list we have the oldest first-time women's Grand Slam champion in the Open era, Flavia Pennetta. Another Italian, Pennetta was a solid player for years, admired for her consistency and doubles prowess. But nobody expected what would unfold at the 2015 U.S. Open. At 33 years and 199 days old, Pennetta stunned the tennis world by defeating her close friend and fellow Italian Roberta Vinci in the final. What made the moment even more extraordinary was her announcement immediately afterward. She was retiring from the sport. Winning your first slam in your mid-30s and then walking away at the very top. It was the perfect fairy tale ending. Pennetta's story remains one of the most remarkable in tennis history, proof that patience and resilience can lead to glory, even at an age when many players are already winding down their careers. Which of these stories inspired you the most? And do you think we'll see someone even older than Pennetta win their first slam in the future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. Thank you for watching our Sports Stars Stories. Kindly subscribe to our channel and stay updated for more interesting videos and captivating stories of our stars in the world of sports.